advanced civilizations capable of building pyramids aligned with the stars and wielding cosmic forces we barely understand.
I had a feeling that,
while we believe we have evolved,
I have a feeling that there's so much rich history and so much things that we haven't even got to tap into, or nobody even knows is around, because like there's only select few people that even know these topics and things. So it's really keen to who you even know, who you even get to talk to about these stuff, because these are important.
we are actually just groping at traces of this ancestral knowledge systematically kept hidden by powerful institutions. Take a look at religious symbols like the papal mitre. It appears sacred, yet it has roots in the worship of the fish god Dagon, silently preserving age-old rituals that keep the public in total ignorance. And it does not stop there. Secret societies inherited this knowledge and continue manipulating the world using hidden emblems such as the Roman fasces to display power and control. Our collective slumber is not accidental.
They're saying it. They still are right. Like, it's been in front of our face our whole life, our whole time, and no one just like looks and just opens up to everything around us, because it's always been there. Like, of course they're gonna have time to like learn the secrets and learn all this shit behind the scenes, because we won't looking past what was there.
It's precisely the main mechanism that allows this hoax to continue. Unless we wake up now, we will remain at the mercy of an elite that keeps us in the dark while they preserve and benefit from all this lost wisdom.
And that's real though. There is a hell of a lot of lost wisdom. You have to know
there is a paradox at the heart of modern archaeology.
Y'all ain't heard the saying, all the darkness comes to the light? Like, my mom's raised me on that. Like, I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, everything that's done in the dark always comes to the light. So you may not see it now. You might see it not in your future, not in your lifetime. But your kids, or the generations that's dropping down below your sins, boy.
As our investigative technologies advance, we uncover more evidence that challenges the conventional narrative of human evolution. This is not mere speculation.
Human evolution is a crazy... I could spend a topic on that for like 300 years. Because if we're being honest on our human evolution and our mere speculation of like life itself, boy, that topic is never ending, because there's so much to start to go. You talking about billions of trillions of years? That was billions of trillions of years of doing shit. Was making mere speculations of evolution of our lives. Think about it.
These are documented archaeological anomalies whose explanations remain incomplete within current historical paradigms. Human history today represents only a fragment of a reality that may be much richer and more complex. We might compare ourselves to spectators at a shadow play, seeing only faint projections of what truly happened in the millennia before us. For all its methodological advances, contemporary science still operates within historical models that are beginning to be questioned by increasingly intriguing evidence. A revealing example of this phenomenon emerged when archaeologists uncovered Göbekli Tepe, a sophisticated monumental site dating back to about 10,000 BC. This discovery challenged fundamental assumptions about the development of primitive human societies. Klaus Schmidt.
They had that bullshit in our face for like 5 hours there. Yeah, if you know, you know.
The archaeologist responsible for the excavations expressed his amazement. We found sophisticated temples where we expected to see primitive huts. Our entire model of human development had to be rethought. This provocative
rethought, because our whole lives, everything comes from the mind of a thought and actually living in that process of creation. I don't think you understand how beautiful and how rare, not even rare of us, it's not even rare to thoughts. Everything is a thought, and everything comes from a dimensional plane, because they say we live on 4-dimensional planes: your mind, body, spirit, and the physical, which everybody has not woke up from to this day. They still stuck on that physical level. But once you get through oh my God, your mind, your thoughts, they live outwards. You'll never be able to just sit down and express yourself like with anything normal.
Perspective remains on the fringes of mainstream academic consensus. What these findings suggest is not necessarily a continuous upward line of progress, as is often assumed, but possibly cycles of advanced knowledge, decline, and rediscovery. Several civilizations may have reached remarkable levels of technical and spiritual sophistication, only to vanish under the sands of time or in the wake of catastrophic events, leaving behind only enigmatic fragments of their legacy. Faced with these indications, a natural question arises. Where are the concrete pieces of evidence of such extraordinary achievements? The answer might be closer than we imagine, carved in stone, encoded in myths, preserved in ancient texts, and passed down through oral traditions. The challenge lies in our ability to interpret these traces beyond the conventional lenses of scientific materialism and the strictly linear view of cultural evolution.
Oh no, no, you just not going to. Oh my God.
And with FanDuel, you can turn them into big wins.
Let's go! Skipper.
Massive pyramids, megalithic structures, colossal blocks fitted with precision, and medieval maps bearing mysterious details, each element forms a historical puzzle we have yet to fully solve. Independent researchers and academics debate whether these are mere coincidences or signs of something far greater than our current theories explain. The fundamental question is not just whether this advanced knowledge truly existed, but why certain viewpoints gain more traction than others.
Oh, it surely didn't exist now. It ain't nothing. Yeah, think about that.
When forming our collective vision of history, which forces and interests shape our understanding of the past. And above all, how does that affect what we believe is possible in the present and the future? This investigative video invites us to explore several interconnected domains, universal laws that may govern both material and spiritual phenomena, religious symbols that transcend cultures, initiatory societies that allegedly protect and transmit ancestral knowledge, and finally, our essential nature as conscious beings. The aim is not to dismiss critical thinking, but to apply it more rigorously, questioning entrenched assumptions while also examining alternative hypotheses. In modern thought, the word occultism often evokes associations with sinister or superstitious practices. However, etymological analysis reveals another perspective. The term comes from the Latin occultus, meaning hidden or secret.
That's another thing I heard going in randomly as hell. Going into the places like catacombs or places like the big library of, oh my goodness, oh my God. I don't even want to have to ask Siri, but literally all of the old written things that we have is a lot is in Latin and Hebrew. It's like, you really wouldn't even, knowing this English shit, get your ass out the 21st century. You only know that. Your ass don't know nothing about the old past, because it won't written in this language we got right now. So I can't even imagine.
Referring to knowledge reserved for those who are prepared to receive it. Far from being something dark or irrational, this field of study historically constituted an integrated system of understanding the laws governing both physical phenomena and aspects of human consciousness. In the famous Library of Alexandria, before its destruction, there was no official separation between astronomy and astrology, chemistry and alchemy.
We can only guess and imagine what was burnt down or what was actually in that library, because Alexander the Great, apparently, from when he was traveling around the whole world, apparently he was taking all the knowledge from where he went and like stored and like got all that stuff, because he was snatching shit. Mr. Snatch, come here, man. He won't asking you. Let's run this the easy way or the hard way. Come here. That's what he was doing. He was just pulling up, snatch, that's mine. Taking it back to that library. Now that boy shit done burnt down. They done stole, ransacked, and burnt his shit down. But that boy definitely had a lot I don't think we understand how far Alexander the Great has traveled and visited and seen in his lifetime. That boy didn't even have cars and shit. No plane. That nigga was a savage. Savage. That's what he was. He was everywhere. He was everywhere, but you couldn't miss him. Now back to the daily programming.
Physics and metaphysics. Researchers like Hypatia studied celestial mechanics alongside possible symbolic correspondences, operating under the principle that the cosmos displays patterns reflected on multiple levels of reality. This integrated perspective is summed up in the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, as within, so without.
Ooh, come on, Jim. As above is so below. Let's sit and think about that. What does that mean? What does that mean to y'all? As above is as so below. Your heaven is on earth. Earth. As above, heaven on earth. As above is as below. If you're not centered or you're not grounded in that, and you don't know who you are, that would go over your head.
That the macrocosm and the microcosm are interconnected. Science historian Margaret Alec documented how this unity of knowledge gradually splintered. Political and institutional factors created artificial divisions, separating the study of the physical world from its conscious dimensions and leaving spiritual themes exclusively to religion or psychology. Isaac Newton, for instance, spent much of his time on alchemical studies and esoteric interpretations of scripture, yet he is primarily remembered as the founder of classical physics. While observing celestial bodies, ancient civilizations developed calendars and predicted eclipses, but they also drew metaphysical lessons about the cosmic order. Historian Giorgio de Santillana, in Hamlet's Mill, argues that seemingly fantastic myths encode sophisticated astronomical knowledge.
Yeah, that shit on. Fly ass. Oh no, look at you about to
Historian
come back up.
Giorgio de Santillana.
That fucking boy. Come on, I had some glasses like that. We almost got the same shit on, twin. You got that on, you clean as hell, tie on it. Come on. That's when you know you coordinating. Even in that black and white picture, I could tell them fucking colors is picking up today, my boy. You did that. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna butcher your name. Giorgio de Santillana.
Santillana, in Hamlet's Mill, argues that seemingly fantastic myths encode sophisticated astronomical knowledge, such as the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle of about 25,920 years that requires generations of observation to understand. At the same time, some quantum physicists like Amit Goswami point to possible parallels between non-dual ancient philosophies and aspects of modern physics.
At FanDuel, we know hockey fans don't just have a hunch. You have a hockey hunch.
Experiments such as the double slit.
I like this picture. Literally, I might have to save that. That's an image. I might have to redraw that one. That's how I feel about life. Literally, my inside of my mind and thoughts is coming together and it's growing like trees and grass and land.
Experiment suggest a profound relationship between consciousness and matter, an idea already present in spiritual traditions that claims the mind is crucial in shaping reality. Genuine occultism sought laws and principles that operate behind what is perceivable, much like science investigates invisible forces, such as gravity or electromagnetism. Various esoteric traditions developed methodologies to study fields and energies that affect consciousness. Astrology, in its original form, was not merely a fatalistic system of predictions, but a lens for understanding cyclical dynamics and their psychological and social effects. Alchemists, for the most part, were not just after physical gold.
Damn, she on that perk, ain't she? The one in the middle fried as hell. She chilling. She the chillest one. But the other four, that's perk time. That's Perkio right there. Cause damn, hold on. Damn! Tell me she ain't seen some shit. Look at her twin beside her. Nigga, what the fuck is that? Why her eyeball so droopy? Nah, she fried. She's fried. You're fried. Like, nah, bro, that's... Oh, hell
They often
nah.
interpreted their laboratory processes as metaphors for internal transformations.
Ooh,
Similarly,
internal
universal
transformations.
principles like polarity,
That's more the
correspondence,
astro
vibration, and rhythm appear in ancient texts and can be
Now
compared
you see why I like music. You feel me? They said something about rhythm. You feel me? That's how I know things are connected on frequency. So when I put it up in that track like that and I load it up, I make sure it's hooked up to this frequency that's just like, ooh, it touches your mind and ears. It's just like light up.
modern discoveries in physics or biology. Scientific progress, which focuses on measurable, reproducible phenomena,
fish.
has largely set aside
There's a lot of
subtler,
fishes in there.
more subjective dimensions,
This
but
how I
is
look at
beginning
Pisces,
to
man.
reconsider them as it encounters the limits of strict materialism. As Sir Arthur Eddington warned, the developments of modern physics suggest a fundamentally non-materialistic conception of reality. In this meeting ground between scientific frontiers and spiritual traditions, the call is not to reject rigorous methods, but rather to expand them to include systematic study of consciousness. The apparent conflict between science and spirituality arises from historical and cultural separation, not from any intrinsic incompatibility. Accounts from Newton, Johannes Kepler, Giordano Bruno, and others show that for them, it was natural to combine metaphysical insights with scientific inquiry. Today, reconciliation gains traction in leading laboratories in fields such as neurophenomenology, neurotheology, and meditation research. Thus, the question is not whether
I know whoever studied neurotheology and like oh god, that shit's a hard ass word. English is already cooked already for me. It's just fuck they adding on shit like that.
ancient traditions anticipated contemporary theories, but rather acknowledge that different modes of knowing can illuminate diverse facets of reality. True occultism always encouraged critical thinking and direct experience, which is a practice mirrored by those who study consciousness phenomena with scientific seriousness.
I wonder who studies consciousness phenomena, because if that's the case and you're listening and you're growing in your conscious level, that's everlasting expanding. They say your conscious level is like counting stars in the sky. Like, how deep is the conscious? We don't know too much.
If the mind is not just a byproduct of the brain, but an active element in reality, then investigating spirituality becomes a valid exploration of the world, not a regression into superstitious belief.
The truth is, behind closed doors, the P word became my secret sin at age 10, and for the
Beliefs. An intriguing phenomenon in Western political architecture is the omnipresence of the fasces, a bundle of rods tied around an axe. It appears on legislative podiums in the United States, at the Lincoln Memorial, and even on the seal of the US Senate. The term gave rise to the word fascism, and many associate it with the power of the state. In ancient Rome, it symbolized that the union of citizens under a central government granted power over life and death. Its use in modern republics suggests a conscious symbolic continuity rather than mere aesthetic decoration. Researchers like Manly P. Hall have documented the strong Masonic influence in the founding of the United States. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and other leaders were active Freemasons. The layout of Washington, D.C. was supposed...
You heard them. They were active Freemasons. The foundings of this of America.
Supposedly designed with astronomical and symbolic alignments, reflecting ideas preserved in Masonic lodges. Pierre L'Enfant, the architect and a fellow Mason, created a city plan in which key monuments and buildings form precise geometric patterns. David Overson, author of The Secret Architecture of Our Nation's Capital, analyzed a series of Masonic ceremonies in the American capital, linking them to specific positions of constellations. It is not limited to the US. Europe also witnessed the activity of initiatory societies at pivotal moments. The French Revolution saw significant involvement from those linked to philosophical clubs, Masonic lodges, and other secret societies. Many leaders balanced Enlightenment ideals with esoteric rituals. The famous all-seeing eye in pyramids was adopted in official seals, supposedly representing divine providence or the great architect of the universe. Financial elites of the 19th century, such as the Rothschild and Rockefeller families, funded think tanks and influential groups that gathered powerful figures in private meetings. The aim was to shape political and economic policies on a global scale. Whether at the Council on Foreign Relations or the Bilderberg Group, heads of state and CEOs of major corporations meet to discuss issues of worldwide importance. Some see this as legitimate strategic planning. Others consider it a sign of manipulation or invisible government. At the core of these organizations, architectural symbols and rituals preserve the memory of hermetic and philosophical knowledge. Egyptian obelisks were transported to Rome, London, and Washington, symbolically linking power to astronomy. After all, obelisks were used in Egypt as solar measuring instruments. In Vatican City, in central London.
The Vatican, see, that's what I was trying to think of the whole time. I'm glad they said that's where all that shit is. They got everything.
And at the White House, each location bears shapes inspired by ancient traditions. One need not believe in all-powerful conspiracies to recognize symbolic influence. Many of these groups rely on esoteric principles that they believe offer wisdom for governing societies. Of course, there are internal disputes and misuse of symbols. Yet throughout history, initiatory societies have hosted thinkers, politicians, scientists, and artists searching for unconventional ideas, safe from religious persecution or official censorship. Because not everything was transparent, it is understandable that conspiracy theories emerged. In any case, ignoring these influences altogether leaves history incomplete.
Any NBA play can inspire your next hunch.
We can't
FanDuel,
ignore what's been
big
going on
wins.
and what's been going around.
So if you
Like,
think
you
they
just
wanna
gotta
rock the
dive
rate,
into it and really like.
Many leaders drew inspiration
The more you know, the less you really know. I ain't gonna lie. There's more to this life. There's more to everything around you.
from philosophical visions and ancient rituals that shaped monuments, ceremonies, and even certain legal structures. Understanding this symbolic heritage helps explain aesthetic and cultural choices in major cities and sheds light on how political power itself is organized. The Great Pyramid of Giza remains one of humanity's most puzzling archaeological enigmas.
Still don't understand how the pyramids and shit like that is still like, you know, shit's been. I can't see it going nowhere. Like that shit is. They did something when they made that shit. Like, bye.
This monumental structure incorporates mathematical properties that Western science would only formally describe in the 17th century. Researchers have identified the golden ratio, approximations of pi, references to Earth's circumference, and extremely precise astronomical alignments. How do we reconcile that with the notion that its builders only had copper tools and simple methods at their disposal? In Machu Picchu, Peru, modern engineers marvel at the precision of the stonework. You can slide thin blades through the seams without finding gaps. Some stones weigh several tons and were transported across mountainous terrain, fitted together without mortar, and remain earthquake resistant. At Baalbek in Lebanon, blocks weighing over 800 tons appear to have been moved with an ease that still baffles us. Standard explanations fall short of accounting for every detail. Göbekli Tepe, mentioned earlier, dates to around 9,600 BC and features rings of pillars weighing up to 20 tons each.
Damn,
Supposedly,
20
during
tons?
that era, Humans were still nomadic hunter-gatherers without organized agriculture or metalworking. How could they have built something so sophisticated? Researchers like Graham Hancock argue there are traces of advanced knowledge lost after massive catastrophes.
Shout out Graham. There's definitely traces of advanced knowledge being lost, and just systematic things that they done, we don't know.
Surviving only in myths and monuments. Ancient texts refer to golden ages, followed by near-total destruction, forcing civilizations to rebuild. There are also reports of technological artifacts that do not quite fit accepted timelines, such as the so-called Baghdad batteries from 2,000 years ago, or maps depicting an ice-free Antarctica. Others investigate the acoustic and electromagnetic properties of large pyramids, noting that certain materials generate piezoelectric fields under pressure, and that internal chambers amplify specific frequencies. Theories propose that pyramids might have functioned like energetic devices. Although it sounds radical, modern engineers like Christopher Dunn argue that many internal features make little sense if the pyramid was simply a tomb. Whatever the case, there is widespread evidence that ancient peoples had a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, acoustics, engineering, and also symbolic and spiritual knowledge. The linear story of progress from the cave to today's advanced technology may be oversimplified. These insights do not diminish the accomplishments of modern science. Rather, they place them in a broader context. Perhaps we are not the first to achieve certain levels of sophistication. We may be part of a cycle of civilizations rising, reaching high complexity, and, for various reasons, environmental, military, or cosmic collapse. What remains are ruins and legends, and each cycle tries to decipher the enigma left by the ones before it. Religious symbols we take for granted today, the cross, ceremonial headdress, and the staff of power, have origins much older than the religions using them.
The staff of power sounds crazy.
The pointed hat worn by certain clerics, for example, resembles the ritual adornment of pre-Christian aquatic deities. The fish symbol adopted by Christianity also appears in ancient cults devoted to sea gods. In his comparative mythology research, Joseph Campbell showed that myths worldwide share symbolic patterns. Almost every culture has stories of catastrophic floods, heroes who die and return to life, cosmic serpents, or trees linking heaven and earth. The theory is that these themes represent profound psychological forces, archetypes repeating in the collective psyche. Flood beliefs might reflect real cataclysms while also functioning as metaphors for transformative experiences. The cross, for instance, appears in Egypt, the Ankh, in pre-Columbian cultures, and in Neolithic monuments, always symbolizing the intersection of axes, whether the meeting of material and spiritual planes or other fundamental dualities. Later on, Christianity reinterprets the cross in the figure of Christ, yet the symbolic roots are far older.
That's what I'm saying. We wasn't even using, even though Christ and like the cross, that wasn't the full symbolic of God and Christ at first, until after the fact of the death of Jesus.
Caduceus, Hermes' staff entwined with serpents, also appears in Sumerian and Egyptian myths, and in the staff of Moses in Exodus, suggesting a common source of mythic inspiration. Carl Jung believed these symbols reveal the collective unconscious universal structures in the psyche manifested through similar imagery. Pyramids found in both Egypt and the Americas could be evidence of a shared inheritance.
Yeah, pyramids, of course, they're all over and they show a lot. Then we even gave it credit, because a lot of times, even with the pyramids, they were never really built at the same time, but we all didn't have no internet or nothing like that linking us together to build it. So seeing us actually build it and do it has been totally different. So now it leaves all of us, archaeologists, us people, stumped. Like, what were we thinking? Why are we all so connected? Why are these so big? What was it? Because they're everywhere. America, South America, all the way across the country, all the way to Egypt. Like, come on now.
Or at least a psychological pattern that views the man-made mountain as a way to approach the sacred. Flood narratives and culture heroes are ways the human mind records monumental catastrophes and reworks them into stories of inner cycles. Beyond psychological interpretations, it has also been suggested that many myths encode astronomical, mathematical, or philosophical knowledge. Hamlet's Mill argues that seemingly fantastic tales about sacred mills have connections to the precession of the equinoxes. Similarly, Egyptian rituals tied specific gods to certain constellations, blending astronomy and religion into one cohesive practice. A parallel process occurred in early Christianity.
And it's crazy. I've never been fully into astronomy, like astrology at that. It's crazy how much I love space-time, the stars, planets, and like I feel like I live Star Wars. Literally. That's me.
Which adopted festivals on dates already sacred to Mediterranean solar cults. Numerous symbolic elements, such as divine birth during the winter solstice and a 3-day period of death and rebirth, follow earlier mythological patterns. Originally, myths were never meant to be literal explanations of reality, but transformative experiences that integrated ritual, symbol, and narrative to spark an inner awakening. Studying these symbols and myths with an open mind, without dismissing them as mere fantasy.
That's the whole emphasis of why we here and why we're looking at this whole like information and taking it in. A whole like, even though I'm not big on like fully writing my notes, I like to write shit down and like I like to note myself when it comes to things, and I love the practice of like journaling. Like I feel like that's for everybody. That's if you're a spiritual entity, you should be journaling. You should be actually taking some time to meditate, cause we got a lot of distractions, a lot of this physical shit going on. But that was what it was about. I'm gonna run it back, cause that's literally what I want us to get from shit.
Symbol and narrative to spark an inner awakening. Studying these symbols and myths with an open mind, without dismissing them as mere fantasies or taking them as literal historical truths, reveals a wealth of meaning. Each culture, in its own way, expressed similar archetypes, pointing to deep truths about death, rebirth, sacrifice, and enlightenment. This symbolic language operates like a universal idiom, speaking to us emotionally and rationally, linking distant peoples through invisible threads of significance.
Any NBA play can inspire your next hunch.
There.
And with FanDuel, you can turn them into big wins. Let's go.
Dominant materialistic cosmology in science sees human beings as products of random evolutionary processes.
Actually, I feel like that's a good scene niche for this one. Let's play some. Let's turn this up all the way before I even get up out of here, cause I love y'all. I gotta get the movement. Let's go. Yeah, she said, but I miss you. Yeah. She said she missing her kids. Why this bitch don't get no fucks? Come on, man. Leave that there. I'll be back later on tonight. I got a busy little day ahead of me. I got some tats and shit I gotta do. But I wanted to come on here and just get some mental, I like to call it rehabilitation, because we all need some time to like lock in and get our mental right. I ain't gonna lie, I love finding something that puts me through a process and changes my whole mind. So that's kind of what I'm here. Hopefully y'all have a good one. Bless me right now. It's still early. Go outside, get some sun, drink some water. You feel me? Go exercise and go live life. And then yeah, start this shit right though. I feel like y'all, let's really get the fuck up. I love y'all. Be easy.